Alright, so Irelia versus Nasus. Then you always gotta think, who else can show up really easily? So the jungler, of course. Ryze, the mid laner, he can show up. Just because he's mid, and if he ever gets the push, he might be able to roam. So that's usually what I do in, like, the champ select and loading screen. I'll just think about what can happen during the laning phase. So in this lane, I'm not 100% sure how this lane goes, but I'm assuming it has something like you have to be super careful as soon as I really get Sheen. You gotta be careful with the Shaco ganks. And always watch mid to see if he's missing. And I'd keep an eye on the chat, because I'm pretty sure Ryze has unsealed spellbook. I'm fairly certain that I saw that in the loading screen. So he can change to teleport. It's not often that people will use teleport to go top and gank, but it can happen, so might as well just keep that in mind. Whenever you're playing top, you gotta think if you can win 2v2s with you, your jungler, and enemy top laner and their jungler. So in this game, there's no chance that you guys will win a 2v2 until you're like level 11 or something. Or like have 200 stacks or something like that. Alright, so let's see how you play out early laning phase. Where's your item by? Which is fine. It's good to not auto attack. Alright, so you see her auto attack once, you see her auto attack twice, but that was the last hit. So far this looks good. I would auto her there. If enemy top laner ever like goes in for an auto in your creeps, then you auto back once and run away. And this is when she hits level 2. So now be really careful. Okay, not too bad. It's okay to give up creeps early on.
First blood.
Oh. Got stuck in the tower there. This is where I'm gonna pause it first. Actually, I'm gonna wait. Alright. So when you're laning and CSing, always look at the animation, or like the particles flying. And try to keep an eye on like how much damage they're doing to the creeps. Because you'll see them hit like this creep. That's like how much damage a rotation does. And you just want to keep an eye on that all the time while you're laning, because if you're back here, you don't have to be watching the map. You can just completely watch your minions. Alright, so now your freeze is over. That's really good trades. Oh, can you? You probably could have kept chasing her there and try to get her flash. So here I'd be hard shoving. I would, alright, exactly what I was about to say. Definitely fighter here. Because you got more minions to back you up, so fighting is a really good... Alright. This is good that you're staying to make sure that you push this out. That's really good. It's okay if you even miss some. As long as you like do everything impossible to shove that out fast. Perfect. That's really good. And recall. Ooh, you try recall here. It's a little bit of a late recall. Usually as soon as the minions are being attacked on the towers when you recall. Because then you get back just in time. But this is still really good. It's just, that's a really minor thing to work on. Yeah, good job warding. And you have items spent on her. If she ever walks up to you, just W and run her down. Get her flash. Oh, nice. Ooh, I probably kept chasing her, trying to make her flash. But this is still fine. You got the wave coming towards you, which is really nice. Might have autoed a few too many times. So now you gotta... Actually... Alright, in this situation, when she just TPs back, and then you notice she instantly just starts autoing the wave, after you kind of like slightly botched it, that is a perfect like time to just stop autoing and let it come to you. Let's see what you do. Oh, press R. Oh, you got no mana. So yeah, that was her Sheen power spike. If you ever see that she goes back by Sheen, pretty much any champion that builds anything from Sheen, you won't be able to beat them early as Nasus. Or mid-game even. Well, this is early mid-game, because level 6 is when mid-game starts. This is all fine. You're Nasus. You'll eventually just be stronger than Aurelia, no matter what. Oh, that was close. She's definitely hard shove. If you know that she... Alright, so here's another small thing. Did you notice how you miss a few CS when you went to go do this ward? I would always try to ward in between waves. So like right after this wave would die, that's when I'd go throw a ward out. Because then it'll take, your minions will run towards their minions, and it'll be impossible to miss any.
Red team has slain the dragon.
So I'd make sure to E the wave. Perfect. You can fight her in there, because your minions will do enough damage. So she walks up and tries to hold it, but she did end up backing up, because she probably was scared that you'd try to fight her. So now that I was pushing the tower, make sure you don't eat the wave. That's okay. Try not to auto-attack her here, because her minions will fight back. Really close. If you're fighting away from her minions, you would want that. But it's just her minions did too much damage.
Team's turret has been destroyed. Killing spree. Shut down.
So here, again, I would let it come towards you. Try to bring it back to like right here. Because then you're forcing her to roam, and then if you ever see her like bot side or mid, then that's when you start hard shoving and make her come back. But otherwise, if she tries to stay in lane, she'll be way overextended and be a really easy gank for the jungler.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
In a higher ranked game, your jungler will help you relieve pressure. You'll never actually be able to like get kills usually. Did you remember that one game when I was playing Lise, I think? Where I just kept coming top and trying to like help you like stabilize the lane and farm. Which is one reason I don't really, unless you're significantly better than the other players, I don't think Nasus is the best in the lower elos because it's hard to use your jungler because they're not always aware of how they should use Nasus. But then again, I do like Nasus if in lower elo games too. So yeah, I have mixed feelings about Nasus in like lower games because a lot of those lower games will go super late, and then Nasus just becomes unstoppable. But that's a lot of the time you're depending on the enemy team to make mistakes, which is kind of a playstyle. I don't know if it's like the best. And right here, you should hard shove this wave. Then the correct like macro decision at this point would be for your bot lane to come top, and then you farm bot, because then you have 4 people around the Rift Herald, which is the biggest neutral objective. Because usually you want to have your duo lane around the best neutral objective just so you have the maximum amount of people there. And then you also have TP, so then you can teleport to the neutral objective if they absolutely need you. But as Nasus, I would not recommend TPing until you have like 200 stacks at least. So I don't think there's any way for me to see how many stacks you have, but that's like a rough number. 200 stacks and maybe like Triforce or something. So this looks pretty good. That's right. Oh wait, Rise just flashed the wall, so you can see don't. Alright, what kind of dragon is coming up? It's an ocean dragon. Alright, so we're at 14. So I'm just gonna go back. And we're gonna look at the first mistake that you made. Because something I heard once in a video, which I thought was really, really good, is you always want to focus on the first mistake the most. Because a lot of times if you fix that first mistake, those mistakes later on in the game will be irrelevant. But of course, we're going to look at the whole game, but let's see. So I think right here, it was a mistake to not keep chasing her. If you see her that she's that low, and you still have flash up, you can keep chasing and just try to get her flash. Don't try to kill her. Just try to get that summoner spell, and then you say top no flash in chat or something. Or you can alt and then left click the summoner, and it'll just say Aurelia flash in the chat for you. But I think the first mistake was your first death. I just want to see what that was. It was right after she TP'd. Okay, so it's right here. So whenever you think about fighting, before you think about fighting, you should always press tab or left click on the enemy champion, and you should look at their item. And then you should always think, do I have more gold spent than this person? If the answer is yes, then you should try to fight them. Unless there's like very specific cases where that won't work, like versus Pantheon. He can be like 1500 gold spent under you in the early levels, like up to level 8 or something, and he'll still beat you just because his kit's overloaded early game. But as like a general rule, that's a good way to look at it. But yeah, that's just for the future. Alright, let's go back to 1414. Just want to make sure there's nothing I missed at the first mistake, because that's the biggest thing to look at. First big mistake. That you can do minor mistakes all game, and they won't actually lose you the game. But I'm pretty sure that one mistake right there lost you lane. Lost you lane, not the game. I also noticed you had stopwatch. So I try to also involve your... Oh wait, I thought you had stopwatch. Maybe not. So a champion I would recommend for learning how to perfectly lane, because Nasus is kind of a weird case where you just kind of farm, and then farm a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you become this monster. But it's really hard to farm in early game. So I think a good champion to learn on, or learn with, would be like Garen. Or Renekton's pretty easy too, and really good to like learn with. And then once you have a lot of like knowledge of how to win lane, that's when you can start like trying to mix up your champ pool a little more. But you guys are definitely not out of this game yet. You guys are 4K behind gold, but you're 2 dragons up, and dragons have more value late game than gold does. So it's still very winnable. And if you ever can't hold Richard Laner, or if bot lane's just destroying, it's usually a good time to switch with your bot lane. Because a lot of times your bot lane will be able to 2v1 at the top, while you just like try to absorb as much pressure bot as you can. So if this gets... oh, it's gonna be a 1v2. Oh wait, never mind. He has stopwatch. That was good by him. So that was very worth. SS 3 for 1, so I guess it's not really that worth, but you guys gotta shut down. So it makes it better than it looks. Or not as bad as it looks. So what's the next objective coming up? The UI is broken, it's not saying when dragon's spawning. So, I'm not actually sure when this dragon. So it's gonna be spawning at roughly 21, I guess. Or something like that. Ooh, he actually got him. I thought Chico was just gonna Q that. But yeah, just keep Q farming. I'm actually... because there's nothing really to do but farm and just try to avoid Fiora or Irelia, I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit. So yeah, at this point you can't ever fight her too far behind. Alright, so they get a shutdown. Not bad. You guys don't lose an inhibitor.
Shut down.
And making comebacks, the more you play, the easier it'll get.
Executed.
Because you'll get better at farming. Because farming is just like one of those tedious tasks that just takes a lot of practice to get good at. I like the ulti here, the percentage HP. That's really good. You guys probably killed that Baron like 20% faster just because you used your ult. So now here you should avoid your team and just use your TP to get to them.
Red team.
I think that when you'll start beating her is when you have 3 items. Unless she still has like a 2-level lead on you. Because if anybody ever has like even a 1-level lead, level leads are worth a lot of gold. Like when you're trying to like figure out if you can fight somebody and you're like calculating the gold spent. And then you're also gotta like calculate the level. So levels that level your ultimate are worth like 1200 gold about. And levels that level your primary ability, which would be your Q, are worth like 500-ish. And then all other levels have like different values. It all depends on the ability and what rank it's getting to. But it's kind of like you just make these estimates. And then after a whole bunch of practice, you slowly like adjust the estimates that you put like, or the estimates of value you put towards each level. And then that's how you like give yourself the highest percentage chance to win fights. But let's keep going. See a TP, so start running, that's good. I'd maybe even start just grouping right now, which you are. Then with Nasus, if you're behind, always focus the closest target to your AD carry. We'll speed this up. I think this game's over. Just lost the objective a little bit too much. So I'm pretty sure she can kill you here. Alright, so they overshoot a little bit. Oh, also another thing to think about when you're playing is what does the enemy team want to do? So when you look at the map, I only look at your side. But I don't think that matters too much this game. Alright, so when you see this, you think, well, what does the enemy want to do? We have Dragon at 130, Baron in 2 minutes, mid inhib down. So if I was on blue side, what I would be calling for is we should ward up this side of the jungle, play up in here, have one person push us out, we look for a pick in here when somebody tries to react to the push here. So what I would do is be top and then call for your team bot. And then you shove out to past here about. and then you come here, collect the wave here, and then your team will try to wave clear the best they can here while giving up this tower, because this tower is kind of... Here, one sec. I'm gonna draw some lines and stuff. And we should go windowed. Alright, so looking at the map right now, it's kind of an awkward position to be trying to farm in. Because right now you're trying to defend like this part of the map, which makes all of this part right here very vulnerable. So the team can like ace you in this area because it's just too hard to defend. So instead of there, I would try to defend more like this, because then you push back into the base and you got stronger towers to try to defend. Well, you don't have a tower up here, so I guess it's more like this defense, because you have to give up this stuff because you guys are too weak to fight them. So then you try to get a fight inside of here because this is where you guys are strong. And that's like the only possible way to win a fight, unless they go in 1 by 1 or something like that. But assuming that they're gonna play perfectly, that's how you want to play. So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back, say... Actually, right here. Actually, a lot of the stuff I was going to say, would be irrelevant just because if you didn't make those like earlier blunders. So I might even just, I'm gonna assume that they win. So yeah, I don't, after you lose both Nexus towers, it's basically impossible to come back and win. Usually if you're like trying to stall for the late game, you just defend the inhibitor line. What the fuck just happened? Wait, I'm so confused. Who won? Who won?